Welcome to Sagenheim and the resurrection of the Thidrekssaga. Many men falling in battle, Heimir's contentiousness, and a Jarl's death have been subject in the last episode of the Thidrekssaga. So onwards now to something new. A king called Sigmund ruled over the country called Tarlungaland. His father was King Sifjan. He was a powerful man and had many retainers. And now that he had taken over the kingdom after his father, he sent to the west to Hispania, to King Nidung and his son Ordvangis, asking whether Nidung would give him his daughter Sisibe. She was of all women he had heard about, the most beautiful and most courteous in every respect. King Nidung and his son gave Sigmund's messengers a good welcome, and showed them great honor, and gave them gifts of gold, and of the rare treasures that were available in that land. But King Sigmund's request they answered in this manner: that King Nidung did not desire to send his daughter into an unknown land with a man who is unknown both to her and to us. But of your king it is said that he is the most noble of men, and that word had come to us long before you came. We will not refuse to give him our daughter, if he himself comes to seek her here. And with that, King Nidung and his son Ordvangis sent costly gifts to King Sigmund, and the messengers went back with their message. And when they came home, they told King Sigmund their message, and how well King Nidung had received them. Not much time passed before Sigmund had prepared for his journey, and he then set out from his country to Spanland on this mission, and with him he had 400 knights and excellent equipment. He traveled with much pomp and magnificence, and he did not turn away from his path until he had come all the way west into Spanland and the kingdom of King Nidung. Now King Nidung heard about King Sigmund's arrival, and had markets and festive receptions prepared for him along the way, until he arrived at his court. And now King Nidung welcomed King Sigmund magnificently, and prepared a great feast with fitting and worthy entertainment. King Sigmund said that he wished to ask for the daughter of King Nidung, as has already been said, and he said that King Nidung had welcomed his suit. And now King Nidung answered that it should take place now as the messengers had been told, and you shall gain your goal, now that you have come yourself. And since they liked the agreement, Nidung betrothed his daughter to King Sigmund. The wedding took place with great munificence, as King Nidung gave away his daughter and many great fortresses, strong castles, and almost half of his kingdom. But that which remained he gave to Ordvangis, his son, and gave him the royal title, because King Nidung was already decrepit from age. And this great celebration took place with all sorts of rejoicing and pomp, both in the preparation of the feast and in the decoration of the hall. There came together the greatest chieftains who were in Hispanialand, and also all sorts of entertainment, games and singing, as well as great largesse. There was also such a great multitude that there had never been a more magnificent festival in all Hispanialand. And when the festival had lasted 5 days, King Sigmund rode away with his knights and his wife Sisibe, who went with him. He traveled on his way with much honor until he reached his own kingdom. Now, when he had been home 7 days, there came 2 messengers from King Drasolf. They showed him their letters and seals and told him their message. The messengers said, "King Drasolf and your sister send you greetings and bid us say that he has gathered his army with all his dukes and counts and will now travel to Hunaland for battle. He sends you word along with true tokens, requesting that you join his campaign with all of your men, as many as you can gather." King Sigmund replied, "That would ill become me, if my brother-in-law and my sister needed my support, and I were to refuse them my help, so I shall not refuse." The same day, he sent out letters and seals to his retainers as far as his kingdom stretched, and he told them that whoever could carry a shield, ride a horse, and dared to fight should come to him within 4 days, so prepared that he would not have to come home within the next 12 months. And when the army had come together, he led it quickly out of his kingdom. Before Sigmund rode away, he called 2 of his advisors to him, Artvin and Hermann. They were counts in Svava and great chieftains, handsome men and great fighters. He now commissioned these 2 to protect his wife and his kingdom and all his possessions, because he trusted them best. It has often happened to the man who trusts other men well, receives treachery from them. And these 2 chieftains rode out with the king, and he told them many things they were supposed to do while he was away. And most important of all, they were to do everything Sisibe bade them, and whatever she commanded, they were to do. And they rode back while the king set out on his journey. Sigmund joined his brother-in-law, and Drasolf had no fewer than 3,000 knights, and in all they had no fewer than 7,000. Sigmund did not have fewer men than his brother-in-law when they met, and they now traveled to Hunaland with all their army, and carried out many great deeds. When the counts had ruled over the land for some time, there came a day when Artvin went to his queen Sisibe and spoke to her. "This kingdom and all its treasures and your custody are now in my keeping, and I can say to you that I now intend to take you as my mistress and my wife, and along with that, I intend to take over the kingdom as my own. It is uncertain that King Sigmund will ever return from this campaign, but even if he does come back, he will not be able to take everything back from me or from both of us, if you desire the same as I. I am no worse a knight than King Sigmund, nor are there any better." Sisibe answered, "You shall not speak such words to me. I shall wait for my lord, King Sigmund, and I shall take no man until he comes home. Even though you have said this, I will conceal it for this time. But if you say this again, I shall tell my lord when he comes home what you wanted, and then he will be summarily hanged." And he spoke. "You, lady, will not be able to speak as you now do, because, as you will find out, I am no less powerful in my lands than Sigmund is in his." And she answered, "Even if you were so powerful that you would rule over the greater part of the world, and Sigmund were a vassal, I would still want to have him and not you. You shall not speak another word about this matter if you wish to keep your life." And now Artvin ceased his talk and went away. Artvin told his comrade everything that had passed between the queen and himself, and asked his advice about how his case should be advanced. And Hermann answered, "Good comrade, I wish to dissuade you from this, if I can, so that you don't do anything more. But whether you wish this thing or another, I shall come to your aid, as much as I can with advice or any other sort of help." And Artvin replied, "It cannot be concealed that I have so great a desire for this to turn out as I wish, that I will have it, even if I should lose my life. The third possibility is that she will not live." And Hermann answered, "If you are so set on this case, then it can still turn out as we both wish." And now, when several hours had passed, Hermann went to speak with his queen. She welcomed him warmly, and they talked about many things. And then, after a long time, Hermann came to speak of the matter Artvin had brought up, and she answered in the same way, and became very angry. Hermann went away and told his comrade what they had said. Now one day followed another, and Artvin often pressed his case with the queen, but he never received that for which he was asking. Now it must be told that King Sigmund and his brother-in-law Drasolf carried out their campaigns in Hunaland and did much damage to those who were before them by killing men, laying waste to land, and taking booty. They often were in battles with the local inhabitants. Sometimes they were victorious, sometimes defeated. When they turned toward home, they had lost many men, but were themselves both unscathed. King Sigmund came into the outer part of his kingdom, and when the two regents, Artvin and Hermann, found this out, they made a plan. Artvin spoke to his comrade. "I expect now that King Sigmund will come home, that Sisibe, the queen, will tell him all of our activities, and how strongly and quickly she had answered our demands, and that the king will accuse us gravely, if he knows it to be true. If we are to be successful, we must not be slow in our counsel." And before they parted, they decided how things should fare. First they went to the queen and told her their intention to ride out to meet the king and to find out what the news was about him. And she liked this proposal and bade them ride out as quickly as possible, and they did so. And when they came to meet King Sigmund, He welcomed them warmly. They then called the king to a private meeting. When the three were alone together, Artvin spoke. "Good lord, I have bad news to tell you, and it is all true. But I ask you that you do not punish me for what I tell you, because I cannot keep it secret from you, since you gave everything into my hands and those of our comrades. As soon as you had left home, your wife Sisibe took ill advice and unseemly behavior. She took one of her thralls and laid herself next to him. And when our friends wanted to kill him, she told us that he would reign over us in your place, and if you were to come back, you would have us killed if she wanted it. And the same thrall slept afterwards every night in her bedchamber, and now she is pregnant. We did not dare, Lord, to let you come home without knowing about it." Now the king answered, "You can be sure of this. If you have spoken one word falsely of her, it will be your death." And Hermann answered and swore that it is all true that has been told you. And the king spoke, "Good friends, what shall I do with this woman who has behaved so badly?" And Artvin answered, "You must decide, king. We will do anything you desire." And then the king spoke. "It would be right for her to be hanged, or she might be blinded, or have her feet hacked off, and be thus sent to her father." Artvin answered, "It would be proper to send her into the Svava forest. There are no roads there, and no one will pass by for 10 years. Let her tongue be cut out, and let her live there if God wills it." This counsel seemed good to the king. Now the counts rode away home. And one day, the queen was standing on the battlements and saw a cloud of dust. And she recognized the nearest men she saw riding by their horses as the two counts coming home with their men. And when she believed they would be able to hear her, she called out, "Let God will that I hear good tidings of King Sigmund, whatever you say of him. Tell the truth and do not lie." And now Artvin answered, "King Sigmund is well and has fared well. He is now encamped in the Swabian forest with his army. He sends his word to you that you should come to him, and he will meet you there. We can lead you to his camp." And now the queen answered, "I shall not delay going to meet him. Where is the woman who should accompany me thither?" And now Hermann answered, "It makes no difference which woman goes with you. It is not a long distance you will travel." She answered, "Then I am ready." And they traveled until they came to a valley in the forest, where there were seldom any travelers, and they dismounted from their horses. The queen spoke in great excitement. "Where are you now, King Sigmund? And why did you tell these men to mislead me here? Now I know truly that I have been betrayed, and you have not betrayed me alone, but also your child." And she cried sorely. And now Count Artvin spoke. "Now we shall do what we discussed with the king, and what he bade us. We shall cut the tongue out of your head and bring it to the king, and you shall lose your life here." Hermann spoke. This woman is innocent, and we shall now do something else. Let us take one of the dogs that is accompanying us, cut out its tongue, and bring it to the king." Artvin replied, "She should now pay for the fact that she has taken all our words ill, and will now take away from us everything we wanted." Now answers Hermann, "Let God help me. You shall never harm her, if I have to kill you." And he drew his sword. And at this moment, the queen went into labor and bore a handsome son. And then she took a meat cask that she had with her, a glass vessel, and when she had clothed the child, she put him into the vessel and closed him in carefully and laid it next to her. And now the man began to fight violently, and finally Artvin fell down where the queen was laying. And Artvin struck his foot against the glass vessel, so that it flew out into the river. And at this moment, Hermann struck, holding a sword in both hands, and he struck Artvin so hard in the neck that his head flew off. And when the queen had seen what had happened to her son, she fell into a faint and soon died. Young Sigurd, the blacksmith Mime, and his brother Regin will be subject of the next part of the Thidrekssaga. Thanks for tuning in, and see you again next time, back here at Sagenheim.